Hello everyone, thank you for joining us in our pre-recorded Drone Safety Day webinar series. Drone Safety Day is aimed at promoting safe drone practices and exploring the cool and innovative ways drones are being used across Canada. My name is Shaheen Chauhan and I'm a policy analyst that works on the Remotely Piloted Aircraft Systems or Drone Task Force at Transport Canada. Transport Canada is the department of the federal government responsible for regulating and developing transportation policies and programs, including those relating to drones. I'm virtually joined by Scott Wilkinson, Project Manager of Training and Safety Equipment at the Winnipeg Fire and Paramedic Service, the organization that provides fire and EMS services to the city of Winnipeg in Manitoba. Hi Scott, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, good to be here.
So I guess we'll start off with just learning a little bit more about Winnipeg's drone operation. Can you tell us about the types of drones that you use?
Our primary operational aircraft is a Matrice 200 from DJI. And we do also fly some training drones, some smaller Phantom apparatus, as I don't like to put the operational drone in the hands of the trainees until they're prepared. So
that's a wise choice. What capacity do you use your drones in?
Honestly, it's almost all aspects of our service at this point. We started off looking at it from a wildland perspective to identify exposures and track personnel in that setting, but it's moved to capture almost every aspect of our service. Our primary use these days is in situational awareness at structure fires. Allows us to see all aspects of the building in the area for our incident commanders and determine, make a risk assessment to see whether it's safe to put our people in. And we also use it a lot for search and rescue and water rescue, where we can identify persons in need of assistance on the waterways much more efficiently than we can with ground forces.
It sounds like drones definitely make a huge difference in these life-saving operations.
Absolutely, and we've had some significant incidents since the inception of our program, and we've actually referred to it as a game changer, as there's really been no other way to get this kind of information to our incident commanders without the drone.
That's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about the advantages drones have over other technologies that you could be using?
Well, as I said, we haven't really ever identified anything that truly equals the drone. We do have a relationship with our police service where their helicopter comes into play occasionally, but it's obviously not always available and cannot do all the same things that the drone can do. So up until this point, we have not been able to get those kind of views for our incident commanders' assessments. We have not had those advantages for search and rescue or training or safety or even in hazardous materials where we do it, use the drone to get in closer and have a look at the situation. So we haven't found anything that equals it.
So drones are kind of unparalleled in that sense.
Yeah, I would refer to it that way. I mean, people probably never thought that would be an integral piece of emergency services, but it's become that for us.
Have you faced any challenges in adopting drone technology?
Well, just like any other public service, I mean, we have the budgetary constraints that become an issue. But we managed to show the need for the drones and validate that, so that budget's been coming along. Earlier on, it's managing all the regulatory and training requirements with make sure we're in line with everything from Transport Canada. We did have some changes midway through our development that we had to adjust to, which we did. But at this point, those have been the biggest ones. Just really the initial acceptance with people who were uncertain of the drone, and then the regulatory and budgetary pieces. But other than that, it's been working very well.
Can you tell us about the training that you put your pilots through for the program?
Certainly. So we start off with our pilots individually getting their advanced written theory through Transport Canada. They have to complete those examinations. We then work with them to complete their practical evaluations to complete their advanced certification. But at that point, we actually put them through another 10 days of more in-depth tactical training for our department, where we look at scenario flights, working with our specific platforms, and everything from night flights to live flights in different situations.
That's awesome. It sounds like a really rigorous training program.
We like to think so.
Do you believe that there are any misconceptions about drone use?
I mean, earlier on, even within our service, and when we started to justify the program, there's people that look at it like it's a toy. So we obviously had to get over that and show them the benefits. And once they see it, I think it's pretty obvious that it's not a toy. It's a specific piece of technology used to advance our operation. Publicly, I still think there's that version of it that it's a toy and doesn't have to be dealt with under regulations and safety standards the same way as other aircraft. But hopefully we can continue to make those improvements so that people are operating them safely.
So what are some lessons you and Winnipeg Fire and Paramedic have learned about using drones in life-saving operations capacities?
I think the biggest things we've learned about operating is just the level of training and proficiency we need to keep our pilots at. It's not something you can just take a quick test on and then expect them to fly forever. We train regularly in different situations and have them adapting to all those situations. So it takes quite a bit, and then we have to deal with different weather conditions, day and night flights. So it's for our purposes, what we've learned is the value of the training and proficiencies for sure.
And I can imagine the weather conditions probably change a lot in Winnipeg.
It varies a lot in Winnipeg. So right now it's hot and sunny, so that's pretty easy to fly in, but we do get a lot of high wind conditions. As some people may have heard, we have some extreme temperatures in the winter, which does limit our flight abilities because the aircrafts are only rated to certain temperatures. But we do our best to fly as much as possible and around those conditions that we can.
Of course, yeah. So how do you anticipate your use of drones to evolve in WFPS's operations?
Well, hopefully long-term quite a bit. I mean, we're right now looking at replacing and upgrading our aircraft for a little more capability with some new technology and that's something we've planned for every few years, to have the need with this technology's development to add or replace and to keep up with the level of technology. Our next kind of steps that we are actually quite happy to work with Transport Canada on is the adoption of future beyond visual line of sight, or short range beyond visual line of sight, which obviously for us gives us more capability to see around structures, go down the riverways, search for people, and opens up our efficiencies. So that's the next. And ultimately, if the battery life, the technology, and the regulations get there, we'd probably like to see these aircraft going out right at the inception of the dispatch and being on scene even before the crews arrive to provide that early intelligence. So that's the long-term goal.
So currently, the way it works is that you have dispatch going first, and then a drone is called if needed?
Many jurisdictions are using an on-call process. What's been the advantage for our program is that we do dispatch automatically on certain types of incidents. So certain levels of structure fires, water rescue calls, hazardous materials, and wildland incidents. The drone actually runs out with the right away at the exact same time as the initial dispatch of the other resources. And at other times it can be requested by our incident commander. So we are on scene often within 5 minutes of the initial call.
Sounds like a really quick response.
Yeah, it's quick. Our guys get the aircraft up. They're fantastically on the ball and well trained, and they get the aircraft up right away. That having it on scene that early is what gives the advantage to our incident commanders to assess the risks and make those decisions early on in the incident.
So what's an average day like for a member of your drone team?
Well, our pilots and our drone team are on a regular apparatus. They're on one of our rescue units, so they are just just like any other firefighter. They're responding to incidents. They're managing equipment, they're training all day, but then they add in the aspect of our equipment maintenance for the drone program, as well as regular training, and then the drone responses themselves. So they're pretty busy. They don't lack for anything to do.
In the spirit of Drone Safety Day, can you tell us what drone safety means to Winnipeg Fire and Paramedic?
Well, I mean, from our perspective as an organization, the safety comes from our knowledge and our work with regulatory compliance. So we are very have a great relationship with both Transport Canada and NAV Canada to make sure that we're operating safely. As we mentioned before, discussed earlier, I think it's the training aspect is the biggest piece for us. We have a robust training program that ensures our operators are proficient and know those safety standards. We have safety and backup plans in case there are issues with the aircraft. And we're quite transparent with the public so they understand what we're doing in those operations. So that's from our point of view. But I think on a public side, it's incredibly important for everyone to be aware of the regulations and why they're there. They're there for safety purposes and to be following them, because historically we have seen a lot of drone operation that clearly was not following safety standards, and sometimes was a concern even to our operation.
So I can imagine the public perception has largely been positive about using drones in a life-saving capacity. What has the feedback from the public been like?
We've had good reception from the public. I mean, when we've been out in the media many times, the media is quite excited about the use of we share some of our drone footage with the media, so we've got a fair bit of media profile on the public. The response has been very positive. I know there's been issues in some jurisdictions in North America and concerns from the public, but we've been very, very fortunate here, and I think partly because they can see the level of training and proficiency, and we've been very transparent, that it's been very positive. We have not had any negative interactions publicly.
So to touch a little bit more specifically on WFPS's types of operations, you guys provide a lot of visual reconnaissance for different types of emergency incidents. Can you tell us a little bit more about these emergency incidents and what they compose of?
Yeah, I mean, I think our most frequent use is that situational awareness or reconnaissance at our structural fire incidents. We use both the optical zoom camera, excuse me, and the thermal imaging camera that allows us to see heat signatures, levels of fire involvement in buildings, and that helps our incident commanders determine safety for our personnel and how to attack the fire more effectively. So we've had some major industrial and commercial fires where this has been a game changer for us, as well as the opportunity at some of these larger fires. As you can well imagine, a lot of smoke, not sure where to direct large water streams to put the fire out. The drone's perspective, especially with thermal imaging as well, can help direct those. So that's been a very common usage. We're looking to get more into our hazardous materials division to assist them. And the other main areas we've used it are our water rescue calls on the rivers, looking for victims, both with thermal imaging and optical cameras, and our wildland fires, where we can get that view for our incident commanders to determine where the fire is, if it's at risk for any properties, as well as where their personnel are located to provide better safety.
So you mentioned using a thermal imaging camera in your operations. I'm sure a lot of our viewers will find thermal imaging technology to be very interesting. So can you give us an example of when using a thermal imaging camera made a key difference in one of your operations?
Sure, we've used it, extensively. It's been one of our greater tools with the drone. So we've been able to identify again some of the risk assessments for our members on scene. So we've had some large apartment building or commercial fires, where our incident commanders have to make a decision on whether we put our firefighters in to make sure they're safe. And when we see, fire signatures or heat coming through the roof, we know that there's a greater risk of collapse. And on a number of occasions, this has helped our incident commanders more safely deploy our personnel. So it's a great piece not only for public safety, but for our firefighter safety as well.
Absolutely. It's important to ensure the safety of your people as well. Given that you're located in Winnipeg, are there any specific challenges or advantages to flying in that area? Maybe the climate?
We have a great relationship with NAV Canada here, and our airspace has been a wonderful relationship. So we've had no concerns with our traffic, our flight traffic, or how to operate within this zone. Obviously, as we touched on earlier, the temperature and the wind conditions can be a bit of an issue here in the prairies. So we do get those issues that we have to work around, or sometimes we are unable to fly due to the levels or the parameters of the aircraft. But we've got a great relationship here. We're the largest center, obviously, in Manitoba, and we're the predominant ones using RPAS at this time. So it's been quite, we've had a good situation with all our agencies, and I think the biggest thing probably is just adapting to the different weather conditions. I mean, it would be certainly simpler if they were more consistent, but we adapt to that for all our other operations as well. So why not drones?
So that's it for our interview with Winnipeg Fire and Paramedic. Thank you so much, Scott, for joining us.
No problem. It was great speaking to you today. Thank you.
We hope you found this webinar interesting. The other webinars in our Drone Safety Day pre-recorded webinar series will provide an overview of the drone safety rules and explore the other cool and innovative ways drones are being used across Canada. Be sure to check them out as well. Got questions about safe drone operations or something you may have seen or heard during our webinars? Tune into Transport Canada's Twitter chat to be held on November 13th at 1 p.m. We'll have a group of drone experts available on hand to answer any burning questions you may have, live. Drone safety is everyone's responsibility. To celebrate Drone Safety Day, tell us what drone safety means to you. Share a photo, post, or story to your social media platforms with the hashtag Drone Safety Day. And check out Transport Canada's Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to see what drone safety means to other Canadians.